You find yourself walking through the woods at dusk. The light is fading, not quickly, not dramatically, just slowly, the way daylight always fades when you're not paying close attention to it. The trees stand tall around you. Their branches reach upward and outward. They create patterns against the sky, patterns that shift when you move your head, patterns that seem almost deliberate. The path beneath your feet is soft. Moss grows here. Fallen leaves cushion your steps. You make almost no sound as you walk. This quietness feels unusual. You're used to hearing your own footsteps. You're used to the small noises that follow movement through wild places. But here, in these woods, sound seems to behave differently. The air smells of earth and dampness, of bark and something green you cannot quite name. It is not unpleasant. It is the smell of places where things grow slowly, where time moves at a different pace than it does in cities or homes, or anywhere people gather in large numbers. You're not sure why you're walking here. The memory feels distant, like something you decided hours ago or perhaps days ago. The reason has become less important than the walking itself. You simply continue forward, one foot and then the other. The rhythm is soothing, repetitive, almost meditative. Above you, the sky shifts from blue to grey to something softer, something between colours. The trees filter what light remains. They break it into fragments, into small pieces that fall between the leaves and land on your shoulders and hands. You notice these fragments. You notice how they move. There is no wind, or if there is wind, it is so gentle that you cannot feel it against your skin. Yet the leaves move slightly. They rustle without sound. They turn on their branches as if stirred by something you cannot detect. This is curious but not alarming. Woods have their own movements, their own subtle shifts that do not require explanation. You have been walking for some time now. You're not tired. Your legs feel strong. Your breathing remains steady and calm. The path continues ahead of you. It winds between the trees. It follows the natural contours of the land. Whoever made this path understood the woods. They did not force a straight line through them. They allowed the path to curve and bend and follow the easier routes between root systems and rocky ground. The light continues to fade. This is expected. This is what happens when evening arrives. You do not check the time. You do not have any urgency about reaching a destination. The walking itself has become the purpose. The woods have become the destination. You are already here. Something catches your attention. A sound. Or not quite a sound. More like the memory of a sound. The suggestion that sound might exist somewhere nearby. You pause. You stand very still on the path. You listen with the kind of attention you rarely use in daily life, the kind of listening that requires your whole body to participate. Nothing. Only the quiet. Only the subtle movements of leaves that may or may not be moving at all. You resume walking. The moment passes, but something about it remains with you. A small awareness. A tiny shift in how you perceive the space around you. The trees here are old. You can tell by their thickness, by the way their bark has formed deep grooves and patterns, by how high the first branches begin above the ground. These trees have stood here for decades, perhaps longer. They have watched seasons change. They have survived storms and droughts, and the countless small catastrophes that shape forest life. You place your hand against one tree as you pass. The bark feels rough under your palm, solid, real. The texture grounds you, reminds you that this place exists in the physical world. That despite the dreamlike quality of the fading light and the unusual quiet, you're walking through an actual forest on an actual evening. Your hand falls away from the tree. You continue forward. The path narrows slightly. The trees grow closer together here. Their canopy thickens overhead. Less light penetrates. The air feels cooler. You notice these changes, but they do not concern you. Woods change as you move through them. This is natural. This is expected. Another sound, or again, not quite a sound, more like a whisper, but not words, not language, just the shape of a whisper, the breath of it, the suggestion that someone somewhere nearby might be speaking very softly. So softly that the words themselves disappear, but the act of whispering remains. You stop again. You turn your head slowly, left and then right. You look between the trees. You search for movement, for any sign of another person. The woods reveal nothing. Only trees and shadows and the growing darkness between them. Is that a sigh? You're not certain. It could be wind moving through distant branches. It could be the settling sounds that forests make, wood expanding and contracting. Leaves brushing against leaves, the small acoustic events that fill wild places with ambient noise so subtle you usually do not notice it. You wait. You give the woods time to repeat whatever sound you might have heard. Time moves strangely when you stand still in a forest at dusk. Seconds feel longer. Minutes compress. Your sense of duration becomes unreliable. You might be standing here for 30 seconds or 3 minutes. You cannot tell. The distinction feels unimportant. Nothing happens. The woods remain quiet. You decide the sound was nothing. Or if it was something ordinary. Something that requires no investigation. You turn back to the path. You begin walking again. The rhythm returns. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. The soft compression of moss and leaves beneath your soles. The gentle forward motion through space, through the dimming light, through air that grows cooler with each passing minute. You notice mushrooms growing near the base of a tree, small pale ones. They cluster together like a tiny village. You do not know what kind they are. You do not know if they are poisonous or harmless or valuable. They simply exist here, growing in their quiet way, converting dead matter into living tissue, performing the slow alchemy that mushrooms perform. The path curves to the right. You follow it. The trees thin slightly. You enter a small clearing, not large, perhaps 20 feet across. The sky opens above you. The light here is different, softer, more diffuse. You can see a few early stars beginning to appear, small points of light against the darkening blue. You stand in the center of the clearing. You turn in a slow circle. You observe the ring of trees surrounding this open space. They stand like silent witnesses, like an audience gathered to watch something that has not yet begun. Or perhaps has already ended. You cannot tell which. The ground here is covered in grass, short grass, the kind that grows in shade. It feels different under your feet, springier, more alive. You notice this difference. You file it away in the growing collection of small observations you have made during this walk. Ahead of you, on the far side of the clearing, the path continues. It enters the trees again. It disappears into shadow. You know you will follow it. There is no question about this. The walking has its own momentum now, its own logic. You're simply following where the path leads. But first you pause here. You allow yourself this moment of openness, of seeing sky instead of canopy, of standing in a space where you can extend your arms without touching anything. The clearing feels like a gift, a small interruption in the dense press of forest. You breathe deeply, the air tastes clean, untouched, like air that has never entered human lungs before. This is an illusion, of course. Air moves and mixes, it circulates around the planet. The breath you just inhaled has been breathed before, many times, by countless creatures. But the illusion persists. The air tastes new. There, again, that whisper. Closer this time. Or maybe not closer. Maybe just clearer. More distinct. You hear it more as a feeling than a sound. A sensation that travels through the air and touches your ear and registers in your mind as something that might be human voice. Or might be wind. Or might be nothing at all. You turn toward the sound. Or toward where you think the sound originated. The trees stand silent. The shadows between them reveal nothing. No movement, no figure, no source for the whisper you may or may not have heard. Hello? You speak the word softly, tentatively. You're not shouting. You're not demanding an answer. You're simply offering the possibility of conversation, of contact, of acknowledging that if someone is there, you're aware of them. The woods absorb your greeting. The word disappears into the space between trees. No echo returns. No answer comes. The silence continues, deeper now, more absolute, as if your speaking has somehow made the woods even quieter than before. You wait, you count to 10 slowly, then to 20. Nothing changes. The clearing remains empty except for you. The trees remain still. The shadows remain opaque and uninformative. Perhaps you imagined it. Perhaps the walking and the fading light and the unusual quiet have created conditions where your mind generates sounds to fill the silence. This happens. Human brains dislike true silence. They invent noise to occupy empty acoustic space. You know this. You accept this possibility. You cross the clearing. You reach the far side where the path continues. You pause at the edge. You look back across the open space. It looks different from this angle. Smaller somehow. Less significant. Just a gap between trees. Nothing special. Nothing unusual. You enter the woods again. The canopy closes overhead. The light dims further. You can still see the path. It shows as a slightly lighter ribbon of ground winding between darker masses of tree trunk and undergrowth. Your eyes adjust. This is what eyes do. They adapt to available light. They make the most of what photons remain. The trees here feel older, larger. Their trunks are massive. You could not wrap your arms around them if you tried. They would require 2 or 3 people linking hands to encircle their circumference. These are ancient trees. Trees that were already tall when your grandparents were born, perhaps when their grandparents were born. You touch one as you pass. Your hand looks small against the vast expanse of bark. You feel humble, temporary. You are a brief visitor in a place that has existed long before you and will continue long after you. This thought is not sad. It is simply factual. It places you in proper perspective. The path descends slightly. You feel the change in your legs, the different muscle engagement required for downhill walking. The ground becomes rockier here. You step more carefully. You watch where you place your feet. The last thing you want is a turned ankle. An injury in these woods would be inconvenient, though you still have no sense of being truly lost or far from civilization. The path exists. Paths lead somewhere. You trust this. Water sounds reach you. A stream. You can hear it before you see it. The distinctive music of water moving over rocks. Constant. Unchanging. The stream has been making this sound for years, for decades, for as long as water has flowed through this particular channel in the earth. You reach the stream. It is small, perhaps 3 feet across. The water moves quickly. It catches what little light remains and throws it back in brief flashes. Silver and grey. The stream looks cold. You do not feel compelled to touch it or drink from it. You simply observe it, acknowledge it, add it to your mental map of this place. The path crosses the stream. Stones have been placed to create stepping points. Flat rocks positioned to allow passage without wet feet. Someone maintained this path once. Perhaps they still do. The stones are deliberate, intentional. They speak of human presence, of care for travellers. You cross carefully. One stone, then another, then a third. The water rushes beneath you. You keep your balance. You reach the far side without incident. The path continues upward now, a gentle slope. Nothing steep, just enough grade to remind you that terrain rises and falls. That forest occupies 3-dimensional space. Your breathing remains steady. The walking feels effortless. You have found a pace that you could maintain for hours, a rhythm that asks nothing difficult from your body. You're not hiking, you're not exercising, you're simply moving through space, simply being in motion. The whisper returns, louder this time, or not louder, just more insistent, more clearly shaped like language, even though you cannot distinguish words. It comes from your left, from deeper in the woods, away from the path. You stop. You turn toward the sound. The trees stand close together in that direction. No path leads between them, only natural gaps, only the random spacing that trees create as they grow. You could walk that way. You could leave the path. You could push between branches and step over roots and make your way toward the source of the whisper, if there is a source, if the whisper is real. But should you? The path is safe. The path is clear. The path leads somewhere. Away from the path is uncertainty, is the possibility of becoming disoriented, of losing your way. Even experienced people can become lost when they leave marked trails. The woods look the same in every direction once you're surrounded by trees. The whisper comes again, softer now, fading, as if whatever makes it is moving away, or as if the sound itself is dissolving, breaking apart into the ambient noise of the forest, becoming indistinguishable from wind and leaves and the tiny movements of nocturnal creatures beginning their evening activities. You decide to stay on the path. This feels like wisdom. Like the sensible choice. The whisper is curious but not urgent. It does not sound distressed. It does not sound like a call for help. It sounds like whisper, like something that wants to remain unclear, something that prefers ambiguity to direct communication. You continue walking. You leave the whisper behind, or it leaves you behind. The distinction is unclear. What matters is that the distance between you and the sound increases. The woods close around you again. The path becomes your entire world, your entire focus. Night is arriving properly now, true darkness, the kind that exists in forests far from artificial light. Your eyes continue adapting. The world becomes shapes and shadows. The path shows as a pale suggestion beneath your feet. You can still follow it. You can still navigate, but you move more slowly, more carefully, more deliberately. Stars appear overhead, visible through gaps in the canopy. More of them than you ever see in places where streetlights and buildings obscure the night sky. These stars are bright, ancient. Their light has travelled for years to reach your eyes. You are seeing them as they were long ago, perhaps before you were born, perhaps before anyone you know was born. Time becomes strange when you think about starlight. An owl calls. The sound is sudden, clear, definitely real. You know this sound. You recognize it as owl voice, as a territorial announcement or a hunting cry or whatever message owls send to each other in darkness. The call does not frighten you. It comforts you. It confirms that the woods are alive, that other creatures move through this space, that you're not alone even if you see no one. The path levels out. You're walking on flat ground again. The trees thin slightly, not as much as the clearing, just enough that you can see further, that your view extends more than a few feet in any direction. This openness feels good. It eases something in your chest that you did not know was tight. You've been walking for a long time now. You still feel no fatigue, no desire to stop or turn back. The walking has become meditative. It has become a moving meditation. Your thoughts drift. They touch on memories and plans and observations. They move like the stream you crossed, constant, flowing, never quite still. Another whisper, this time from your right. From the opposite side of the path, you stop, you listen. The whisper continues, a steady stream of sound, still no words, still no clear meaning, just the shape of speech. The rhythm of language without the content. You turn toward it. You look into the darkness between the trees. You see nothing. Only shadows. Only the vague outlines of trunks and branches. Only the deeper black of space where no light penetrates. Who's there? You speak louder this time, not shouting, but projecting your voice, sending it into the woods with intention, with the expectation of response. The whisper stops. The silence that follows feels heavy, thick, as if the absence of sound has physical weight. You wait. You listen. You give the woods time to answer. Nothing. Only the small sounds of night, the tiny movements of insects, the distant settling of branches, the ambient noise that fills darkness but never quite resolves into identifiable sources. You feel a small chill, not fear, not quite, more like heightened awareness. Like the sensation you get when you realize something is different, when the pattern you expected does not match the pattern you observe. Your body knows this feeling. Your instincts recognize it even if your conscious mind cannot name it. You continue walking. You do not investigate the whisper. You maintain your commitment to the path, to the forward motion, to the journey through these woods. Whatever is whispering can remain in the shadows, can keep its mystery. You do not need to solve every puzzle you encounter. The path curves left, then right, then left again. It follows the natural topography. You follow it. Your trust in the path has deepened. It has not led you anywhere dangerous. It has not disappeared or become impassable. It simply continues, reliable, consistent, present beneath your feet. You think about whispers, about what they mean, about why people whisper rather than speak in normal voices. Whispers suggest secrecy or intimacy, or the desire not to be overheard by others. But who would whisper in these woods? Who would need secrecy here where no one else walks, unless you are not alone, unless other people move through these trees, unless the woods are more populated than they seem? This is possible, probable even. Popular trails see many walkers. You might be hearing fragments of conversation from other hikers. distant voices that reach you as whispers. Sound travels strangely in forests. It bends around obstacles. It diminishes and distorts. What sounds like a whisper might be normal speech from far away. This explanation satisfies you. It provides a rational framework for your experience. You accept it. You let it settle your heightened awareness. You return to the simple pleasure of walking, of moving through darkness, of being alone with night and trees and the path ahead. The woods open suddenly. You step out of the trees into another clearing. This one is larger, much larger, perhaps 100 feet across. The sky spreads above you, full dark now, filled with stars. So many stars that you stop walking just to look up, just to witness the density of light above you. The Milky Way stretches across the sky, a river of stars, a band of light. You rarely see it this clearly. City lights drown it out. But here, in this darkness, it reveals itself fully. It shows you the galaxy you inhabit, the spiral arm where your planet spins, the vast collection of stars and dust and space that is your cosmic neighborhood. You stand with your head tilted back. You let yourself feel small, feel temporary, feel like a brief thought in the mind of something immense and ancient. This feeling is not unpleasant. It is liberating. Your concerns feel smaller when measured against this scale. Your worries lose their urgency when placed beside such vastness. Something moves at the edge of the clearing. You lower your gaze. You look toward the movement. A deer, standing at the tree line, watching you. Its eyes reflect what little light exists. 2 small points of brightness in the darkness. You remain still. You do not want to startle it. You want to share this space peacefully, to acknowledge each other as fellow creatures moving through the same night. The deer does not flee. It continues watching, evaluating, deciding whether you pose a threat. You breathe slowly. Quietly. You make yourself as non-threatening as possible. The deer holds its position. Several seconds pass, maybe a full minute. Time again becomes uncertain, unmeasured. The deer and you exist in a shared moment that has no clear duration. Then the deer turns. It walks calmly back into the trees. It does not run. It simply leaves, unhurried, unafraid. Or if it was afraid, it hid the fear well. You watch until the darkness swallows its form, until you can no longer distinguish deer from shadow. You smile. This encounter feels like a gift, like a small blessing from the forest. You have been acknowledged by another creature. You have been seen and assessed and deemed acceptable. This matters in ways you cannot fully articulate. The clearing draws you forward. You walk to its center. The grass here is longer. It brushes against your legs as you move. You can smell it, green and fresh, the scent of growing things, of photosynthesis and chlorophyll, and all the chemical processes that convert light into life. You lie down. The grass cushions you. The ground beneath feels solid, stable. You rest your head on your folded arms. You look up at the stars, at the Milky Way, at the vast darkness punctuated by points of light. This is a good place to rest, not to sleep. You do not feel sleepy, just to rest, to pause, to let the walking drain from your legs, to exist horizontally for a while, to change your relationship with gravity. The grass whispers around you. Wind has found the clearing. Gentle wind. It moves across the open space. It stirs the grass, creates soft sounds, natural sounds, the whisper of plant against plant, of air moving through flexible stems. You close your eyes. You listen to the wind, to the grass, to the distant sounds of the forest surrounding the clearing, to your own breathing, to your heartbeat, to the small internal sounds your body makes, the ones you only notice in deep quiet. Is that voice? You open your eyes. You listen more carefully. The wind continues, the grass continues, but underneath, or alongside, or woven through the natural sounds, something that might be voice, might be whisper, might be the suggestion of language. You sit up. You look around the clearing. You see nothing, no figure, no person, no source. The darkness reveals only itself, only shadow and the vague shapes of distant trees. The stars provide no useful illumination. They're too far away. Their light is beautiful but not functional. The whisper continues. It seems to come from everywhere, from the air itself, from the space between sounds. You cannot locate it, cannot point to a direction and say, there, that is where it originates. It simply exists, ambient, pervasive, like a quality of the clearing itself. You stand, you turn slowly, you scan the entire perimeter. Nothing. The trees stand silent. The grass moves only with wind. No figure hides in shadow. No person watches from the tree line. You are alone. Yet the whisper persists. Words begin to form, not clear words, not language you can understand, but the shape of words, the rhythm, the rising and falling tones that suggest meaning even when meaning remains opaque. You concentrate. You try to hear more clearly, to pass the whisper into something comprehensible. Nothing resolves. The whisper remains just below the threshold of understanding, just beyond the edge of clarity. It is maddening in a gentle way, like trying to remember a dream, like knowing something, but not knowing that you know it. The information seems close, present, available, but refuses to become accessible. You walk toward the far side of the clearing, toward where the path continues, toward forward motion and the safety of having a direction. The whisper follows you, or you carry it with you, or it was never coming from any external source. You cannot tell which. The distinction feels less important as you move. The path enters the trees again. You follow it. The canopy closes overhead. The stars disappear. You return to darkness and the narrow corridor between trees. The whisper fades, or you stop paying attention to it. Or the density of forest muffles it. Regardless, it recedes, becomes background, becomes just another texture in the layered sounds of night. You walk faster now, not running, not fleeing, just walking with more purpose, with more intention. The path remains clear beneath your feet. You follow it without thinking. Your body has learned its rhythm, has adapted to its twists and curves. You move automatically, efficiently, like water finding its course. The trees grow closer together, the path narrows. Branches reach toward you from both sides. They do not touch you, they simply occupy the space near the path. They remind you that the woods are wild, that the path is a concession, a temporary agreement between human intention and forest chaos. You push through, you duck under low branches, you step over roots that cross the path. The walking becomes more active, more engaged. You cannot drift in thought anymore. You must pay attention, must watch where you place your hands and feet, must navigate obstacles. This focus feels good. It occupies your mind. It leaves no room for wondering about whispers, for questioning what you heard or did not hear, for trying to solve mysteries that may have no solutions. You simply walk, simply move, simply exist in the immediate physical challenge of forward progress. The path climbs, a steep section, not long, maybe 20 feet of vertical gain, but steep enough that you use your hands, that you pull yourself up using saplings and rocks. Your breathing deepens, your heart rate increases, your muscles work. This is good. This is what bodies are meant to do. To move, to climb, to engage with terrain. You reach the top. The path levels out. You stand straight. You breathe deeply. You let your heart rate settle. You look back down the way you came. The path disappears into darkness below. You cannot see the bottom, cannot see how far you climbed. The darkness obscures distance, makes everything seem both closer and farther than it actually is. You turn forward, you continue. The path here is easier, wider, less obstructed. You make good time. Your stride lengthens, your pace increases. The walking becomes almost effortless again, almost floating, as if the steep section was a test, as if passing it earned you this easier terrain. A structure appears ahead. You see it as a darker shape against the general darkness, something man-made, something that does not belong to the natural patterns of forest. You approach carefully, curiously, wondering what you'll find. It is a shelter, a small three-sided structure. Open to the path, a roof, 3 walls, a floor raised slightly above the ground. The kind of shelter that trails provide for hikers, for people who need to escape sudden weather, or who need to rest, or who simply want a defined space, a human space, in the midst of wilderness. You step inside. The shelter feels safe, protected. The roof overhead blocks the sky. The walls create boundaries. You're no longer in the open forest. You're in a human space, however small, however basic. This matters. It changes how you feel. A bench runs along the back wall. You sit. The wood feels smooth, worn. Many people have sat here before you. Many travellers have rested in this exact spot. You are part of a continuity. A long line of walkers who found this shelter and paused and breathed and gathered themselves before continuing. You realise you're tired. Not exhausted. Just tired. The walking has accumulated. The hours have passed. Your body wants rest. Real rest. More than the brief pause in the clearing. You lean back against the wall. You stretch your legs out in front of you. You let your shoulders drop. You release tension you did not know you were holding. The whisper returns, inside the shelter this time, or seeming to come from inside, from the corners, from the space under the roof. You open your eyes. You look around. The shelter is empty. You are alone. Yet the whisper fills the space, soft, persistent, unavoidable. You do not feel afraid. You feel curious, interested. What is this phenomenon? What creates this sound? Is it a trick of acoustics? Is the shelter positioned in some way that channels distant sounds, that amplifies whispers from far away? This seems possible. Shelters are designed to protect from wind and weather. They might also channel sound in unexpected ways. You stand, you walk to the open side, you look out at the forest. The darkness reveals nothing. The whisper continues behind you, inside the shelter. You turn back. You try to locate it, to pinpoint a source. The sound seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. From the shelter itself. From the wood and the roof and the air contained within the walls. Words form again. Clearer this time. Still not clear enough to understand, but closer. The rhythm suggests sentences. The pauses suggest breath. The rising and falling tones suggest questions and statements and the natural flow of speech. Someone is speaking, or something is speaking, or the shelter is speaking. You cannot determine which. You try responding. I'm listening. You say it quietly, respectfully, not challenging, not demanding, simply acknowledging, simply being open to communication if communication is possible. The whisper intensifies, not louder, but more dense, more complex, as if multiple voices whisper simultaneously, as if a conversation is happening, as if the shelter contains an invisible gathering of people all speaking softly all at once. The effect is disorienting, beautiful in a strange way, but disorienting. You step back outside, the whisper cuts off. Immediately, completely, you stand on the path just beyond the shelter's edge. Silence. Only the normal forest sounds, the small movements, the distant settling, the ambient noise that fills wild places. You look back at the shelter. It sits silent, empty, waiting for the next traveller. You consider going back inside, trying again, listening more carefully, but you decide against it. Some mysteries do not need solving. Some experiences are sufficient simply as experiences. You do not need to understand everything you encounter. You continue on the path. You leave the shelter behind. You walk away from the whispers, or you walk away from where the whispers seemed strongest. They may follow you. They may not. You're no longer concerned. You have accepted the strangeness, have integrated it into your experience of this walk, of this night, of these woods. The path descends gradually, a long, gentle slope, easy walking. The kind that allows your mind to drift again, to think about whispers, about sound, about how we perceive the world through our senses and how those senses can be tricked, can be misled, can create experiences that seem real but may not be. You think about other walkers, other people who have moved through these woods. Did they hear whispers? Did they encounter the same strangeness? Or is this unique to you, unique to this night? Perhaps the conditions must be exactly right. The light, the temperature, the air pressure, the phase of the moon. Perhaps whispers only emerge when everything aligns. Or perhaps not. Perhaps the whispers are always here, always present, and most people simply do not notice, do not listen carefully enough, do not give the woods their full attention. You have been attentive, mindful, present. Maybe this openness allows you to perceive things others miss. The path levels out. You walk on flat ground again. The trees change here. Different species. You can tell by the bark texture, by the shape of what branches you can see. These are younger trees, smaller. The forest is regenerating here. Something cleared this section once, fire perhaps, or storm, or human activity. Now new growth reclaims the space. Young forests feel different. They have their own energy, their own character. They're eager, ambitious, reaching upward toward light, competing for space. They lack the patience of old forests, the settled quality of trees that have established their territory and now simply maintain it. You walk through this younger section. The canopy is thinner here. More starlight penetrates. You can see more of the sky. More of the world beyond the immediate forest. This openness feels refreshing. A change in texture. A different flavour of wilderness. The whisper has not returned. Not since you left the shelter. You notice its absence. The quiet feels cleaner now, more pure, less complicated by the suggestion of voice. You realise you prefer this quiet, this simple darkness with its honest sounds, its uncomplicated presence. But even as you think this, you feel a small loss. The whispers were strange, but they were also interesting. They added mystery to the walk. They created questions. They made the experience richer, more layered, more memorable. Would you remember this walk without them? Would it be just another evening stroll through unremarkable woods? You cannot say. You only know that the whispers changed things, made them different. Made you more alert, more present, more aware of the forest as a place where unusual things might occur, where the expected rules might bend, where mystery might live alongside the ordinary. The path widens. You are approaching something. You can sense it. The forest is opening ahead. The quality of darkness changes, becomes less dense, less absolute. You walk faster, curious, eager to see what comes next. You emerge from the trees into a large open area. Not a clearing, something else. A meadow, perhaps. The grass here reaches your knees. It stretches away in all directions. The edge of the forest forms a dark border around it. Above, the sky opens completely. The stars flood down. The Milky Way glows. The night reveals itself in full glory. You stop at the edge. You stand where forest meets meadow. You look across the open space. It is beautiful, peaceful. The grass moves in waves as wind passes over it. The movement creates sound, a soft rushing, like water, like the ocean. The meadow breathes, inhales and exhales, lives its quiet life under the stars. You step into the grass. It brushes against your legs, whispers against your pants. The sound is clear, definite, completely natural. This is grass sound, wind sound, the friction of plant matter moving against fabric. Nothing mysterious here, nothing strange. Just the honest noise of movement through vegetation. You walk deeper into the meadow. The path has disappeared. Or perhaps there never was a path here. Perhaps the meadow is a space between paths, a transition. A place where you must navigate without guidance. You choose a direction, straight ahead, toward the far side where the forest begins again. Where presumably another path waits. The grass whispers constantly. The word whisper feels appropriate here. This is what whispers sound like when stripped of mystery, when revealed as simple physical phenomena, when understood as nothing more than air moving through spaces and creating vibration and producing sound. This is all whispers are. All they have ever been. Yet the whispers in the forest felt different. They suggested more. They carried a quality that grass whispers lack. An intentionality, a sense of meaning, of attempted communication. The grass whispers because wind exists, because physics demands it. The forest whispers felt like they whispered because something wanted to whisper, because a choice was made, because intention existed. You shake your head. You are overthinking, creating significance where none exists. The forest whispers were probably the same as these grass whispers, just wind and leaves and the acoustic properties of enclosed spaces. Your mind added the meaning. Your expectations created the mystery. The forest is innocent. It makes sounds without intention, without purpose beyond the physical laws that govern matter and energy, but you are not entirely convinced. Something about the forest whispers resists this simple explanation, resists being reduced to physics and air currents. They felt aware somehow, responsive, as if they knew you were listening, as if they adjusted themselves to your attention. You continue across the meadow. The grass whispers its simple song. The wind continues its work. You walk steadily toward the far tree line, toward where the forest waits, dark and dense and full of whatever mysteries forests contain. The meadow is wider than you expected. You walk for several minutes without reaching the other side. The grass maintains its constant height, its constant texture. No variation, no change. Just endless knee-high grass moving in wind, creating its endless whisper. You begin to feel disoriented. The meadow all looks the same. The grass provides no landmarks, no features to navigate by. You look back. The forest behind you is a dark line. You look ahead. The forest ahead is a dark line. They look identical. You cannot tell if you're walking straight, cannot tell if you're angling off course, cannot tell if you're making progress at all. You stop. You need to orient yourself. You look up at the stars. You find the North Star. You trace the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper. You establish direction. You choose a path based on the stars. You begin walking again, more confidently now, with celestial guidance. The grass whispers, always whispering, never stopping. The sound becomes monotonous, hypnotic. It fills your ears, fills your mind, becomes the only sound that exists, the only input your brain receives. You find yourself swaying slightly as you walk, matching the rhythm of the grass, moving with the wind. A whisper cuts through. Different. Not grass, not wind. Voice. Or voice-like. You stop. You listen. The grass continues its endless sound, but underneath, woven through, that other whisper, that familiar strangeness. It has found you even here, even in the open meadow, even far from trees and shelter and enclosed spaces. You turn slowly. You try to locate it. The whisper seems to come from behind you. You turn that direction. You look back across the meadow. Nothing. Only grass, only darkness, only the distant line of forest. No figure, no source, no explanation. The whisper continues. It circles you, moves around you, first behind, then to your left, then ahead, then to your right, then behind again. It orbits. It makes you its center, its point of reference. You turn trying to follow it, trying to keep it in front of you, but it moves faster than you can turn. It stays just beyond your direct focus. You stop turning, you stand still, you let the whisper circle, you listen without trying to locate, without trying to understand. You simply receive the sound, let it wash over you, let it be what it is without demanding that it be something you can explain. The whisper settles, it stops moving, it comes from directly in front of you now, steady, constant. You look in that direction. You see nothing, only grass and darkness, but the whisper is there, clear, definite, coming from a specific location even if you cannot see what occupies that location. You walk toward it, slowly, carefully. The grass whispers around your legs. The other whisper maintains its position. You move closer, 10 feet, 5 feet, 3 feet. You should be able to see something now, should be able to identify a source, but the grass reveals nothing. Only itself, only its endless repetition of stalk and blade and seed head. You reach out. Your hand enters the space where the whisper seems strongest, where it seems to originate. Your fingers touch nothing, only air, only the cool night air of the meadow. No solid form, no body, no person, nothing physical. Yet the whisper continues, right at your fingertips, right where your hand occupies space. You move your hand. The whisper stays stationary. Your hand passes through it, through the sound, through whatever creates the sound. You feel nothing, see nothing, know nothing more than you knew before. You withdraw your hand, you step back. The whisper fades, not immediately, gradually. It diminishes, grows softer, thinner, like smoke dispersing, like fog burning off in morning sun. It becomes less substantial, less present, less real, until it disappears completely, until only the grass whispers remain. You stand alone in the meadow. The stars shine above. The wind moves the grass. Everything is as it should be, as it was before, as if the whisper never existed, as if you imagined the entire encounter. But you did not imagine it. You know you did not. The whisper was real as the grass. as real as the stars. As real as your own breathing, you continue walking toward the far forest, toward the next section of this journey. Whatever just happened has happened. You cannot change it, cannot undo it, cannot make it clearer or more understandable. You can only continue forward, only keep walking, only trust that the path will reveal itself again once you reach the trees. The forest grows closer, larger, more defined. You can see individual trees now, can distinguish their shapes, can make out the gaps between trunks. The meadow is ending, the next phase is beginning. You feel relieved. The meadow was beautiful but unsettling. Too open, too exposed, too uniform. The forest will provide structure again, definition, the comfort of boundaries. You reach the tree line. The grass ends, the forest floor begins. Covered in needles and leaves and the soft detritus of forest life, you step from grass to forest floor. The texture changes under your feet. The sound changes. Your footsteps become softer, more muffled. The whisper of grass is replaced by the quiet of deep woods. You look for the path. You search the forest edge. You walk along the boundary between meadow and trees, looking for where the trail continues, where it enters the forest. It must be here. Paths do not simply end. They go somewhere. They connect points. They have purpose and direction. There, a gap between trees, wider than the natural spacing, deliberately maintained. The path. You found it, or it found you, or you both found each other. The distinction does not matter. What matters is that the path exists, that your journey can continue, that you have not lost your way. You enter the forest. The path is clear, well defined. You can follow it even in darkness. Your feet know the difference between path and forest floor, between maintained trail and wild ground. You walk confidently, trusting your senses, trusting the path. The trees here are mixed, deciduous and coniferous, broadleaves and needles, different textures, different shapes, different ways of living. They coexist peacefully. They share the forest. They compete for resources, but do so slowly, patiently. According to rules established over centuries, you notice mushrooms again, different kinds this time, larger, growing on tree trunks, shelf mushrooms. They protrude like tiny shelves, like small platforms. Some are as wide as your hand. They are beautiful in their own way, functional beauty, form following function. Growing where nutrients exist, taking advantage of dead wood, of decay, of the forest's constant recycling. The path climbs again, not steeply, just a gradual incline. Your breathing deepens slightly, your muscles engage, you lean forward, you use your whole body to move uphill. This feels good, feels purposeful, feels like you are working toward something, toward a destination, toward an end point that you will recognize when you reach it. The whisper returns. You expected this. You knew it would. The whisper is part of the woods now, part of this experience, part of what walking here means. You do not stop, you do not turn, you simply acknowledge it, note its presence, continue walking. It matches your pace, matches your rhythm. It walks beside you, or behind you, or ahead of you. It is difficult to tell. The whisper moves with you. It accompanies you. It has become a companion, a strange companion, an invisible companion, but a companion nonetheless. You find yourself whispering back, not words, not sentences, just breath shaped like whisper, just the sound of whispering without content. You mimic the forest, you join its conversation, you participate in whatever dialogue the woods are having with themselves, with you, with the night. The path whispers, your feet whisper against the ground, the trees whisper, the air whispers, everything whispers. The whole forest is engaged in a vast, soft conversation, a continuous exchange of whispers, layer upon layer of quiet sound, building into something that is almost music, almost harmony, almost a song that has no beginning and no end, that has always existed and will always exist. That you can join but never fully understand. You stop whispering. You listen to the forest whisper alone. You're the witness now, the audience. You let the woods perform. Let them create their soundscape without your interference. Let them be what they are without your addition. The path levels out. You have reached the top of the incline. a plateau, flat ground. The trees are very old here. The oldest you have seen. They tower above you. Their first branches start 30 feet up. They have grown beyond competition, beyond the need to reach for light aggressively. They simply stand, massive, patient, ancient beyond your comprehension. You feel very small here, very temporary, very much like a brief thought in a long dream. These trees were here before your great-grandparents were born. They will be here after your great-grandchildren die. They measure time differently. They experience existence on a scale you can barely imagine. You touch one, your hand against the bark. The tree does not notice, or if it notices, it does not care. You're too brief, too insignificant. A momentary contact, a fleeting touch, nothing that registers in the slow awareness of tree consciousness. If trees are conscious, if they have awareness, if they perceive the world at all, you continue walking. The path winds between these giants. You navigate their root systems. The roots rise above ground here. They create ridges, small walls of wood. You step over them. You move carefully. You maintain respect for these ancient beings. You're a guest in their space, a temporary visitor. You behave accordingly. The whisper changes, deepens. Takes on a different quality, older somehow, more profound, as if the ancient trees are whispering, as if their slow voices are finally speaking, finally sharing something, finally offering knowledge or wisdom or simply acknowledgement of your presence. You stop walking. You stand among the giants. You listen with your entire being, with every cell, with every particle of awareness you possess. The whisper fills you, enters you, becomes part of you. You're no longer separate from it, no longer observer and observed. You are participant. You are part of the whisper. You are whisper yourself. Time does something strange. It expands, or contracts, or stops, or moves in multiple directions simultaneously. You cannot tell. You stand on the path, but you are not in the present moment. You are in many moments, all at once. You are in the past when these trees were saplings, in the future when they are fallen logs, in the eternal now where they simply exist, always existing, never beginning, never ending, just being. The whisper tells you things, not in words, not in language, but directly, through feeling, through knowing. It tells you that these woods are old, that they have seen much, that they will see much more, that you're a small part of a vast pattern, a tiny thread in an enormous tapestry, that your walking here matters but does not matter, that your existence is significant and insignificant simultaneously. This knowledge does not frighten you. It comforts you. It places you in proper context. It removes the burden of believing you are central, important, crucial. You are not. You are simply here, simply experiencing, simply moving through space and time in your brief allotted span. This is enough. This is all you need to be. The moment passes. Time returns to normal, or your perception of time returns to normal. The whisper remains, but it is just whisper again. Just sound. Just the acoustic phenomenon you've been hearing all night. The profound knowing recedes, becomes memory, becomes something you will spend the rest of your life trying to understand, trying to recapture, knowing you never fully will. You breathe deeply, you steady yourself, you look around. The trees stand unchanged. The path continues. The night persists. Everything is as it was, as it has always been. The moment of transcendence or whatever it was belongs to the past now, to memory, to the growing collection of experiences from this walk. You continue forward. You leave the ancient trees behind. The path descends, gradually at first, then more steeply. You move carefully. You watch your footing. You cannot afford injury, cannot afford a fall. You need to complete this journey, need to reach wherever the path leads, need to see this through to its conclusion. The trees grow younger as you descend, smaller, more closely spaced. The forest returns to a more familiar scale, more comprehensible, less overwhelming. You feel grateful for this return to normality. The ancient trees were magnificent but exhausting. Their scale demanded too much. Their presence was too heavy, too profound. You need lighter things now, easier things. You need the comfort of ordinary forest, the path switchbacks, left, then right, then left again. It zigzags down the slope, reduces the grade, makes the descent manageable. Whoever designed this path knew what they were doing, knew how to work with terrain, how to make steep places passable, how to guide travellers safely through challenging topography. You move steadily downward, your knees absorb the impact, your muscles control the descent. You're tired now, actually tired. The walking has accumulated, the hours have passed. Your body wants rest, real rest, deep rest, the kind that comes with stillness and safety and the end of exertion. The path reaches level ground. The descent is over. You are in a valley now, low ground. The air feels cooler here, damper. You smell water nearby, a stream or pond or some other water source. The forest here is lush, dense undergrowth, ferns, moss, the plants that love moisture, that thrive in wet places. The whisper has faded, or you have stopped noticing it. Or it has completed whatever it needed to do. The woods are quiet again, simply quiet. No mysterious sounds, no uncanny presence. Just normal forest at night. Just the honest sounds of darkness and life and growing things. You feel grateful for the whisper's absence. You needed the rest, the break from strangeness, the return to simple walking through simple woods. You have integrated the experience, made it part of your night, but you do not need it to continue. You do not need more mystery, more questions, more uncertainty. You need path and forward motion and the promise of ending. The path follows the valley floor. It stays low. It avoids climbing. It takes the easy route through this section. You appreciate this. Your legs appreciate this. Flat ground feels wonderful, feels generous, feels like the forest is being kind, offering you respite, giving you time to recover before the next challenge. Water sounds grow louder. You are approaching the source, the stream, or whatever it is. You welcome this. Water means life, means beauty, means something to focus on besides endless trees, means variety in the landscape, means change. The path reaches the water, a creek, wider than the first stream, perhaps 6 feet across. It moves more slowly than the first. The water here is deeper, quieter. It flows without urgency, without the rush and tumble of faster water. It simply moves, steadily, patiently, following the dictates of gravity and the shape of the land. You stop beside it. You look at the water. It is too dark to see through to the bottom, to see stones or sand or whatever the creek bed contains. You see only surface, only the slight reflection of stars, only the dark mirror that moving water creates at night. You consider drinking. Your mouth is dry, your throat is dry, but you have nothing to carry water in, nothing to use as a cup. You could cup your hands, could scoop water, could drink that way, but something stops you, some instinct, some caution. The water is wild water, untreated, unfiltered. It might be safe, or it might not. You cannot tell. You decide not to risk it. Your thirst is not desperate, not urgent. You can wait. The path follows the creek, stays beside it. You walk along the water. The sound is pleasant, companionable. The creek becomes your companion now. The whisper is gone, but the creek remains. Constant, reliable, real in a way the whisper never was. You walk for a long time beside the water. The creek bends and curves. The path follows its curves. You move together, path and creek and walker, 3 elements moving through the night, through the valley, through this section of forest where water shapes everything, where moisture determines what grows and what cannot grow, where the creek is king, is centre, is the organising principle around which all else arranges itself. The valley widens, the creek slows further, it spreads out, becomes shallow, broad. You can see the bottom now, see stones, see sand, see the places where water moves faster and where it pools and rests. The creek is revealing itself, showing you its secrets, inviting you to understand its nature. The path crosses the creek here. No stones this time, no bridge, just shallow water. You must wade, must get your feet wet. You accept this. You cannot avoid it. The path continues on the far side. You must cross to follow it. You step into the water. It is cold, very cold, mountain cold, snowmelt cold, the cold that comes from water that was recently ice. Your feet react, your body tenses, but you continue. One step, another, another. The water reaches your ankles, your shins, it soaks your shoes, your socks, your pant legs. You reach the far side, you step out, your feet squelch, water pours from your shoes, you are wet, uncomfortable, but you are across. The path continues, you continue. Wet feet are not a crisis, just an inconvenience, just part of the experience, part of what walking here demands. You move more carefully now. Wet feet can blister, can slip, can cause problems. You do not want problems. You want only forward motion, only continued progress, only the eventual completion of this journey, however far it extends. However long it takes, the path climbs out of the valley, up the far side, another ascent. You are tired of climbing, tired of uphill, tired of the constant demand for more effort, more energy, more engagement, but you climb anyway, because the path requires it, because you have no choice, because forward is the only direction that matters. The climb is not steep, not long, just enough to leave the valley, to return to higher ground, to move out of the dampness, away from the creek, back to drier forest. You reach the top, the valley falls away behind you, the creek sound fades, you are alone with trees again, with the familiar forest, with the world above water. Your feet squelch with each step, water still drains from your shoes, still makes walking awkward, uncomfortable, but already your body heat is warming the water, is making it less shocking, less cold. Soon it will be merely damp, merely unpleasant, then barely noticeable, then forgotten entirely. This is how discomfort works, how humans adapt, how we make the intolerable tolerable through time and continued exposure. The whisper returns. You expected this, knew it would. The whisper belongs to the forest. It comes and goes according to rules you do not understand, according to patterns you cannot predict. You simply accept it, note it, continue walking with it, through it, despite it. But this time the whisper is different, clearer, more defined. You can almost hear words, almost pass meaning, almost understand what is being said. You stop, you listen carefully, you give the whisper your full attention. The words remain just beyond comprehension, but their shapes are clearer. Their rhythm is more defined. You can hear sentence structure, can hear question marks and periods, can hear the rising and falling tones that indicate different types of speech, but the actual words refuse to resolve. They stay blurry, out of focus, like trying to read text in a dream. You try to respond. I'm listening. I'm trying to understand. You speak clearly, honestly. You want communication if communication is possible. Want understanding if understanding is available. Want connection with whatever creates this whisper. The whisper pauses, complete silence, then it resumes. Different now, slower, more deliberate. As if whoever or whatever is whispering is trying harder, is making an effort to be understood, is adjusting to your capacity, your limitation, your inability to hear clearly whatever is being said. One word emerges. Clear, unmistakable. Walk! That is the word. Walk. Simple, direct, unambiguous. You heard it clearly. You know you heard it. The whisper said walk. You laugh, quietly, to yourself. The whisper tells you to walk. You're already walking. You've been walking for hours. Walking is what you're doing. Walking is the entire point. The whisper offers no new information, no revelation, just confirmation of what you already know, what you are already doing. But maybe that is the point. Maybe the whisper is not offering new information. Maybe it is simply acknowledging, simply seeing you, simply confirming that you are doing what you should be doing, that your walking is correct, appropriate, good. Maybe the whisper is encouragement, support, blessing. You accept this interpretation. You let it comfort you. The whisper approves. The whisper supports your journey. The whisper wants you to continue. This feels good, feels right. Feels like you're not alone after all, like something accompanies you, like you're seen by forces you cannot see, acknowledged by presence you cannot identify. You continue walking. The word walk echoes in your mind. Walk, walk, walk. It becomes a rhythm, a mantra, a meditation. You walk and think walk, and the two actions merge, become one thing. Walking and thinking about walking and being told to walk all collapse into single unified experience. The forest opens slightly. The trees space themselves more generously. Light penetrates more easily. You can see further, can perceive more depth, more distance. The world expands. Your awareness expands with it. A deer crosses the path ahead, moving quickly. Not running, but moving with purpose, with direction. It does not notice you, or if it notices, it does not care. It has business elsewhere, places to be, things to do. It disappears into the trees on the far side of the path, gone as quickly as it appeared. You're seeing more animals now, or perhaps the animals are becoming more active. Perhaps night is when they truly live, when they feel safe, when they emerge from hiding and go about their lives. Day belongs to humans, night belongs to everyone else. An owl calls, different owl than before, or same owl in a different location. You cannot tell. Owl calls all sound similar to you. You lack the expertise to distinguish species by voice alone, but you appreciate the call regardless. Appreciate the reminder that birds exist here, that the forest has vertical dimension, that life happens in the canopy as well as on the ground. The path curves around a massive boulder, house-sized, a piece of geology that has sat here for millennia, since glaciers carved these valleys, since ice ground across this landscape and left debris in its wake. The boulder is older than the trees, older than anything alive. It provides perspective. It reminds you of deep time, of geological time, of the vast spans during which continents move and mountains rise, and everything you think of as permanent is revealed as temporary. You touch the boulder as you pass. The stone is cold, solid, utterly unlike the living wood of trees. This is mineral kingdom, earth kingdom, the fundamental substance of the planet itself. Nothing grows on it. Nothing can. It simply exists, inert, patient, waiting for the slow processes of weathering and erosion to eventually reduce it to gravel, to sand, to particles that will wash away and disperse and become part of soil somewhere downstream. The path continues beyond the boulder. You follow it. The walking continues. The night continues. The journey continues. Everything continues in the way that things continue when they have momentum. When stopping would require more effort than continuing. When forward motion has become the default state. You realize you have been walking for many hours. The night should be ending soon. Dawn should be approaching, but the darkness shows no signs of fading. No hint of grey appears in the east. No birds begin morning songs. The night persists, deep and complete, as if dawn might never come, as if this night might last forever. This thought does not disturb you. If the night lasts forever, then you will walk forever. If dawn never comes, then you will never need to stop. The walking has become comfortable, familiar. You could walk indefinitely. Walk until your body simply stops. Walk beyond tiredness into some other state, some transcendent state where effort ceases to feel like effort, where movement becomes as natural as breathing. The whisper has faded again, or you have stopped noticing it, or it has merged with other sounds, become indistinguishable from wind and leaves and the ambient noise of forest. This is fine. The whisper comes and goes. You no longer need it, no longer depend on it for company, for interest, for the sense that something unusual is happening. Something unusual is happening, has been happening all night, but you have adapted, have made the unusual usual, have integrated mystery into normal experience. The whisper is just part of the forest now, like trees, like darkness, like the path itself. It belongs here. It has always belonged here. You're simply noticing what was always present. The path descends again, gently, into another small valley. More water sounds ahead. Another creek. Or maybe the same creek. Maybe it loops. Maybe you have been following a single waterway all night, moving upstream and downstream in turns, crossing and recrossing the same water, the creek as constant companion, always nearby, always present, always singing its water song. You reach the creek. It looks different here. Faster, more energetic. The water tumbles over rocks, creates small falls, small rapids. The sound is louder, more complex, more musical. This is the creek expressing itself, showing its personality, revealing what it can do when the terrain provides opportunity. You sit on a rock beside the water. You need rest, real rest, sitting rest. Your legs need a break from walking. Your mind needs a break from constant forward motion. You let yourself stop. Let yourself be still. Let the creek move while you remain stationary. The water is mesmerizing, the constant motion, the endless variety within repetition. Each wave is different, each ripple is unique, yet they are all the same, all water responding to gravity and stone, and the eternal physics of liquid flowing downward. You close your eyes, you listen to the water, the sound fills your consciousness, drowns out other thoughts, other concerns, other awareness. There is only water sound, only the music of creek. Only the endless variations on a theme of flowing. Time passes. You do not know how much. You're not sleeping, not exactly. But you're not fully awake either. You're resting in some middle state, some liminal space between waking and sleeping, between consciousness and unconsciousness, between presence and absence. The whisper wakes you, or returns you to fuller awareness. You open your eyes. The creek still flows. The forest still surrounds you. The night still persists. But something has changed. Something feels different. You sit up straighter. You become more alert, more attentive. The whisper is very close, immediate, as if the source is right beside you, right next to your ear. You turn your head slowly. Nothing. Only forest. Only darkness. Only trees and rocks and the space where no person stands. Hello? You try again, speaking to the whisper, to whatever creates it, to the mystery that has accompanied you all night. I know you're there. I can hear you. What do you want? The whisper responds, not with words, but with something, a feeling, an impression, a sense that you're being acknowledged, that your question has been heard, that communication is happening even if it is not happening through language, even if it is not happening in ways you can fully articulate or understand. You feel calm. The whisper does not threaten, does not demand, does not push. It simply is, simply exists alongside you, simply shares this space, this night, this moment beside the creek in the depths of the forest. Thank you. You say it quietly, sincerely, thanking the whisper for its company, for its presence, for whatever it has offered during this long walk. Whatever meaning it has brought, whatever purpose it has served, thank you for walking with me. The whisper intensifies briefly, a surge of sound, of presence, then it fades, recedes, diminishes, until it is gone completely, until only the creek remains, only natural sound, only the honest noise of water and wind and night. You sit for a moment longer, processing, integrating, understanding that something has ended, that a phase has completed, that the whisper has said goodbye, or you have released it, or it has released you. The relationship, whatever it was, has concluded. The whisper will not return, not tonight, perhaps not ever. You stand. Your legs protest briefly. They had settled into rest. They must be reminded of walking, coaxed back into motion. You move slowly at first, carefully, allowing muscles to remember their work, allowing joints to loosen, allowing your body to transition from stillness back to movement. The path continues beside the creek. You follow it. Walking feels different now, quieter somehow, simpler. The mystery has departed. What remains is just walking, just forest, just the straightforward experience of moving through space. This is enough. This is good. This is what you need now. The creek bends. The path follows. You walk through a section where willows grow. Their branches hang low. They brush your head, your shoulders, soft touches, gentle contacts. The willows are friendly, welcoming. They do not impede. They simply acknowledge your passage, simply touch you as you move through their space. You emerge from the willows. The forest opens again, larger trees, more space between them, better sight lines. You can see more of your surroundings now, can perceive more structure, more organization. The forest feels less wild here, more managed, as if human hands have shaped it, thinned it, guided its growth. The path improves, becomes wider, more maintained. You see signs of recent work, cut branches stacked beside the trail, fresh saw marks on stumps. Someone maintains this path. Someone cares for it. Someone ensures it remains passable. This knowledge comforts you. It means you're not in true wilderness, not in untouched forest. You are in a managed space, a place where people come, where help exists if help becomes necessary. A sign appears ahead, a wooden sign, a marker. You approach it eagerly. Signs mean information. They mean direction. They mean the end of uncertainty. They mean you can know where you are, where you are going. How far remains? The sign is simple, an arrow, a name. Trailhead, 2 miles. You are close. The path ends soon. The journey nears its conclusion. 2 miles. That is nothing. That is easy. That is 30 minutes of walking, maybe 40 at your current pace. The end is visible now, achievable, certain. You feel something complex, relief mixed with disappointment. You want to finish, want to complete this walk, want to reach the trailhead and rest and be done, but you also do not want it to end. This night has been strange and beautiful and meaningful. You have experienced things, heard things, felt things. You have walked through mystery and emerged changed, slightly changed in ways you cannot yet articulate. You're not ready for it to end, but it is ending. The sign declares it. 2 miles, then it is over. You walk more slowly. Deliberately, trying to extend the experience, trying to make the remaining distance last, trying to hold on to the night a little longer. The forest cooperates. The path meanders. It does not take the direct route. It curves and winds and extends itself. It seems to understand your reluctance, your desire to prolong the journey. The trees grow younger, smaller. You're leaving the deep forest, approaching the edges, the margins, the places where wilderness meets civilization, where paths end and parking lots begin, where night walks transition back into regular life, into responsibilities and schedules and all the things you left behind when you entered these woods. You see lights ahead, artificial lights, electric lights, the lights of the trailhead, of the parking area, of the place where people begin and end their journeys into forest. The lights look harsh after so many hours of darkness, intrusive, unwelcome, but also comforting, familiar. They mean safety. They mean completion. They mean the walk is truly ending. The forest thins. The path widens further, becomes almost a road. You can see the parking area now, see your car, see the few other vehicles parked here, see the information board, the restrooms, the trash cans, all the infrastructure that supports recreation. That makes wilderness accessible. That allows people like you to walk through forests at night and return safely to normal life. You reach the parking area, your feet touch pavement. The change is startling, jarring. Pavement feels wrong after hours of soft forest floor. It feels dead, hard, unforgiving. You want to turn around, want to go back into the trees, want to leave this harsh, artificial space and return to the gentle darkness of the trail. But you do not turn around. You continue forward. You walk to your car. You reach it. You touch the cold metal. You lean against it. You breathe deeply. You let the night settle into memory, into story, into something you will carry with you, something you will think about, something that will shape how you understand forests and darkness and mystery and whispers. You do not get in the car immediately. You stand beside it. You look back at the trail, at where it enters the forest, at where you emerged. The trees stand dark and silent. They reveal nothing. They keep their secrets. They do not explain anything. They simply are. You wonder about the whispers, what they were, what created them, whether they were real or imagined, whether they mattered. You have no answers, only questions, only the memory of sound, only the echo of something that might have been voice, that might have been message, that might have been nothing at all. You decide it does not matter. Whether the whispers were real or imagined, they were real to you. They were part of your experience. They shaped your night. They made the walk memorable, meaningful, different from every other walk you have ever taken. That is enough. You sit in your car. You do not start the engine. Not yet. You need a few more minutes. You need to transition fully, to close the door on the experience before opening the door to what comes next, to normal life, to daylight concerns, to all the things that wait beyond this parking lot. The car smells different, smells of the world you left behind. Coffee, fast food, air freshener. The accumulated scents of regular life. They smell wrong, artificial, too strong. Your nose has become accustomed to forest smells. to the subtle sense of earth and bark and growing things. The car assaults your senses, reminds you harshly that you have returned. You start the engine. The sound is loud, violent almost. After hours of quiet, mechanical noise feels aggressive. The engine rumbles, the fan blows. The radio tries to come on, but you silence it immediately. You cannot bear electronic sound right now, cannot bear voices that are not whispers, music that is not wind through leaves. You need silence a little longer. You drive slowly out of the parking area. The headlights sweep across the trailhead, across the information board, across the place where the path begins, or ends, depending on your perspective. You are ending now. Someone else might be beginning. The forest accepts both, welcomes both, makes space for all who come. The road away from the trailhead is empty. No other cars, no other travellers, just you and the pavement and the dark line of trees on either side. The headlights push back the darkness, create a bubble of light that moves with you, that isolates you, that separates you from the night you just inhabited. You drive for several minutes before you see another car. It passes going the opposite direction. Its headlights flash across your windshield. The moment of brightness is shocking. You squint. You turn your head slightly. You're not ready for such illumination. Your eyes are still adjusted to darkness, still expecting subtle variations in shadow rather than harsh electric light. The road curves, descends. You're leaving the mountains, leaving the high country, returning to lower elevations, to warmer air, to the valleys where people live, where towns exist, where normal life continues regardless of what happens in the forests above. You pass a sign, the name of the next town, 5 miles. You will be there soon. We'll rejoin civilization fully. We'll stop at a gas station maybe, buy coffee, use a bathroom with running water and electric lights. We'll immerse yourself in the mundane, in the ordinary, in the world that has no whispers. You realize you're not ready for this. Not fully. You pull over, into a small turnout. You stop the car. You turn off the engine. You get out. You stand beside the road. You look up. The stars are still visible here. The sky is still dark, still clear. The Milky Way still flows overhead, still reminds you of the immensity, the vastness. The scale that makes human concerns feel appropriately small. You breathe deeply. You let the night air fill your lungs. You let the stars ground you, connect you still to the experience you just completed. A whisper. Faint. So faint you almost do not hear it. Coming from the trees beside the road. Or maybe from your memory. Or maybe from inside your own mind. You cannot tell. You turn toward the sound. Toward where it might be. Toward where you think you heard it. Nothing. Only trees. Only the dark line of forest that continues beside the road. That extends for miles in both directions. That contains countless paths and streams and clearings. That holds mysteries you will never explore. That whispers to travellers you will never meet. You smile. The whisper followed you. Or you brought it with you, or it lives everywhere in wild places. Or it lives nowhere except in the ears of those who listen carefully, who walk slowly, who give the night their full attention. You may never know which. The uncertainty is part of the gift. You get back in the car, you start the engine again, you continue driving. But something has changed. You're different now, slightly different, changed in ways that will reveal themselves slowly, over days, over weeks, over the rest of your life perhaps. You will remember this night. You will think about the whispers. You will wonder what they were, what they meant, whether they were real, whether it matters if they were real. You will carry the questions with you. Let them shape how you move through the world, how you listen, how you pay attention. The town appears. Buildings, streetlights, gas stations. The familiar architecture of small mountain communities. You drive slowly through. The streets are empty. It is late, or early. You have lost track of time, lost the ability to measure hours in conventional ways. The walk has scrambled your sense of duration, made time flexible, uncertain. You find a gas station, open 24 hours, bright lights. Too bright, painfully bright. You park, you go inside. The fluorescent lights make you squint, make your eyes water, make you long for the gentle darkness of the forest, for the soft variations in shadow, for light that does not assault. The clerk looks at you. Young kid, working the night shift. He seems concerned. You wonder what you look like, what the forest has done to your appearance. You glance at yourself in the glass door. You look wild, hair messy, clothes rumpled. Pants still damp from the creek, leaves stuck to your jacket. You look like someone who's been walking through woods all night. Because you have. You okay? The clerk asks. His voice sounds wrong, too loud, too clear, too defined. You have been listening to whispers and water and wind. Normal speech sounds jarring, almost offensive. Yes, you say. Your voice sounds strange to your own ears, rough, unused. You have not spoken much tonight, have spent hours in silence or near silence. Speaking feels awkward, like a skill you have partially forgotten. Just finished a hike. The clerk nods, accepts this explanation, goes back to his phone. You buy coffee, hot coffee in a paper cup. You buy a sandwich wrapped in plastic. You pay, you leave. The transaction feels surreal, like playing a role. Like pretending to be someone who does normal things in normal ways, like wearing a disguise. You sit in your car in the parking lot. You drink the coffee. It is too hot, too bitter, too much, but it is real. It is present. It is something concrete to hold, something that exists independent of mystery or interpretation. The coffee is just coffee, nothing ambiguous about it. This is comforting in its simplicity. You eat half the sandwich. You're not really hungry, but you know you should eat. Should refuel your body, should give it what it needs after hours of walking. The sandwich tastes of nothing, or everything. You cannot tell. Your senses are still confused, still adjusting, still trying to recalibrate to the regular world. You finish the coffee, you throw away the sandwich wrapper, you start the car, you pull back onto the road. You continue driving toward home, toward your bed, toward sleep, toward whatever dreams will come after a night like this. The sky shows the first hint of grey. In the east, just a suggestion, the faintest lightening of darkness. Dawn is approaching. Finally. The eternal night is ending. Day is coming. The ordinary world is reasserting itself, reclaiming its dominance, pushing back the darkness and everything that lives in darkness. You feel a pang of loss. The night was special, unique, unrepeatable. Dawn will end it. Will transform it into memory, will make it past tense, something that happened, something that is over. You're not ready for this. But readiness is not required. The earth turns, the sun rises, night becomes day. This is how the world works, how it has always worked, how it will continue working long after you're gone. You drive faster now, racing the dawn, trying to reach home before full daylight arrives, trying to preserve some fragment of the night, some piece of the experience, trying to carry it intact into your waking life, into your normal existence, into the place where you live when you're not walking through mysterious forests. You reach your house as the sky turns from grey to pale blue. The stars have disappeared. The darkness has lifted. The night is officially over. You sit in your driveway for a moment. You look at your house. It seems strange, unfamiliar, like a place you visited long ago but barely remember. Like somewhere you used to live but no longer belong. You go inside, the house is quiet, still, waiting. Your footsteps echo on the floor. The sound is too loud, too solid. After hours of soft steps on forest floor, hard floors feel hostile, unwelcoming. You walk carefully, quietly, trying not to disturb the silence, trying to preserve some quality of the night. You go to the bathroom, you wash your hands, you look at yourself in the mirror. You look tired, wild, different. Your eyes look different. They have seen something, experienced something. They carry knowledge they didn't have before, knowledge about whispers and forests and the strange things that happen when you walk alone through darkness. You do not shower. You do not change clothes. You go directly to your bedroom. You lie down on your bed, on top of the covers, still wearing your damp pants and leaf-covered jacket, still wearing your shoes. You're too tired to undress, too tired to perform the rituals of bedtime, too tired to do anything except stop moving, stop being vertical. Stop trying. You close your eyes. You expect sleep to come immediately. You're exhausted, physically spent. Your body has been walking for hours. It needs rest. It deserves rest. But sleep does not come. Your mind is too active, too full, too busy replaying the night, reviewing the experience, trying to understand what happened. The whispers return, not external this time, internal, in your memory. You hear them again, you experience them again. The sound fills your mind, soft, persistent, meaningful and meaningless simultaneously. You do not fight it. You let the memory play. Let it wash over you. Let it be present. You think about the word you heard. Walk. Such a simple word, such an obvious instruction. But maybe that was the entire message. Maybe that was all the whispers wanted to tell you. Walk. Keep walking. Continue moving. Do not stop. Do not give up. Do not let fear or uncertainty or mystery halt your progress. Just walk. One foot in front of the other. That is all you need to do. That is all anyone needs to do. You think about following whispers, about the danger in it, about the old warnings. Never follow whispers in the woods. Never chase mysterious sounds. Never leave the path. The wisdom of caution. The value of staying safe. Of not risking yourself for curiosity. Of knowing when to ignore mystery and focus on survival. But you did follow whispers. In a way, you acknowledged them. You listened to them. You let them accompany you. You did not run from them. You did not pretend they were not there. You accepted them as part of the experience, as part of the forest, as part of the night, and you survived. You made it through. You completed your journey. The whispers did not harm you. They simply existed alongside you. Maybe that is the lesson. Maybe that is what you are supposed to learn. Not that whispers are dangerous. Not that following them leads to disaster. But that mystery exists. That the world contains things you cannot explain. That uncertainty is part of life. That not everything needs to be understood or solved or made sensible. Some things can simply be experienced, simply acknowledged, simply accepted as part of the larger pattern of existence. You feel yourself beginning to drift, to fade, to slip from waking into sleeping. The transition is smooth, gentle, like walking from one room into another, like crossing a threshold, like moving from the forest into a clearing. Your thoughts become less coherent, less linear, less bound by logic or reason. They float, they blend. They dissolve into the larger flow of consciousness. You dream, or think you dream, or exist in some state between dreaming and waking, between sleep and awareness. You are walking again, through a forest. But this forest is different, brighter somehow, more vivid. The trees glow softly, the path shines. Everything has a quality of light that seems to come from within rather than from external sources. The whispers are here too, but they are clear now, perfectly clear. You can understand every word. They speak your language, they tell you things, important things, profound things. Things you need to know, things you have always needed to know. You listen carefully, you try to remember, you try to hold on to the words, to carry them back to waking life. But even as they speak, the words dissolve. They make perfect sense while you hear them. But the moment they finish, they disappear. You cannot recall what was said, cannot remember the content, cannot bring the knowledge back with you. It exists only in this dream space, only in this liminal territory, only in the place between waking and sleeping where whispers can be fully understood but never fully remembered. You walk through the glowing forest. The path extends infinitely. It has no end, no beginning. It simply is. You walk without tiring, without needing to stop, without any sense of destination. The walking is the purpose. The journey is the goal. Nothing exists except this moment, this step, this breath, this presence in the eternal now. Time passes or does not pass. In dreams, duration becomes meaningless, becomes flexible. You might walk for seconds or hours or years. All are the same. All are equally valid. All are simply different ways of measuring what cannot really be measured. What exists outside the normal flow of temporal experience. The dream begins to fade. The forest becomes less vivid, less bright. The trees lose their glow. The path dims. You are being pulled away, pulled back, pulled toward waking, toward the ordinary world, toward your bed and your house and your regular life. You resist slightly. You want to stay, want to continue walking, want to remain in the place where whispers make sense. But resistance is futile. The pull is irresistible. You are waking whether you want to or not. Your eyes open. The room is bright. Full daylight now. Morning has arrived, the night is truly over, completely over. Finished, past. You lie still for a moment. You orient yourself. You remember where you are, why you are here, what happened. The night feels distant already, like something that occurred long ago, like a memory from childhood rather than from hours ago. The mind does this. It processes experience, compresses it, files it away, makes room for new experience, new input, new moments that demand attention. You sit up. Your body protests, muscles have stiffened, joints have locked. The walking has taken its toll. You are sore. Everywhere. Every muscle used in locomotion announces its presence, demands acknowledgement, insists that you recognize the work it performed, the hours it labored, the distance it carried you. You stand slowly, carefully. You stretch. You move cautiously until your body loosens, until the soreness becomes manageable, until you can walk without limping, without wincing, without feeling like you aged decades overnight. You go to the window. You look outside. The day is bright, sunny, ordinary. The world looks normal, unremarkable, like the night never happened, like nothing unusual occurred, like you did not spend hours walking through mysterious forests, like you didn't hear whispers, like nothing changed. But you changed. You know you changed. You feel it. The change is subtle, internal, not visible to others, maybe not even fully visible to yourself, but it is there, present, real. You're not exactly the same person who entered those woods. You came out different, slightly transformed, touched by something you cannot name. You shower, you change clothes, you eat breakfast, you perform all the normal morning rituals. You do the things people do when days begin, when life continues, when the extraordinary must be balanced with the mundane. You do these things, but part of you is still in the forest. Part of you is still walking. Part of you is still listening for whispers. You sit with coffee. You look out the window. You watch the day unfold. You think about the night, about what you experienced, about what it means, about whether it means anything at all. Maybe it was just a walk, just a night, just hours spent moving through space. Maybe there is no deeper significance, no hidden meaning, no lesson to extract. Or maybe the experience itself is the meaning. Maybe the walking is the point. Maybe the whispers are just whispers. Maybe mystery does not need explanation. Maybe you can encounter the strange and the unexplained and the uncanny without needing to make it sensible, without needing to fit it into familiar categories, without needing to understand it completely. You think about whether you will go back, whether you will walk that trail again, whether you will seek out the whispers, whether you will try to recapture what you experienced. Part of you wants to return, wants to see if the whispers are still there, if the mystery persists, if the strangeness was unique to that night, or if it is a permanent feature of that place. But another part of you knows you should not, knows that some experiences cannot be repeated, that trying to recapture them diminishes them, that the power of the night came partly from its uniqueness, its unexpectedness, its quality of being unrepeatable. If you return, if you try again, it will be different, it will be lesser, it will be tainted by expectation, by memory, by the desire to recreate what cannot be recreated, so you decide to let it be. To let the night remain singular, to let the experience stand alone, to not try to repeat or extend or capture it more fully. You will carry it with you. It will live in your memory. It will shape how you think about forests and darkness and whispers and mystery. But you will not try to possess it, will not try to make it happen again, will not return to those woods seeking what you found there. This decision brings peace, brings acceptance, brings a sense of completion. The night was what it was, nothing more, nothing less. Trying to make it more would be wrong, would be greedy, would show disrespect for the gift you were given, and it was a gift. The night, the whispers, the walk, the mystery, all of it was gift, freely given, requiring nothing in return except acceptance, except gratitude, except the willingness to be changed. You finish your coffee, you wash the cup, you go about your day, you do the things you need to do, the tasks that await, the responsibilities that accumulated while you were gone, while you were walking, while you were somewhere else entirely. But throughout the day, you pause sometimes. You stop what you are doing. You listen. Really listen, the way you listened in the forest, with your whole attention, with openness, with the willingness to hear things that might not make immediate sense. And sometimes, in those moments of deep listening, you hear something. Not whispers exactly, but something. A quality in the silence, a texture in the air, a suggestion that the world contains more than what appears on the surface. You smile when this happens. You recognize the feeling. You remember the forest. You remember the night. You remember the whispers, and you are grateful for all of it, for the experience, for the mystery, for the way the world still surprises you, still offers gifts, still provides moments when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, when the mundane reveals its hidden depths, when walking through darkness leads to places you never expected to go. The day continues, evening approaches, night falls again. You watch the sunset, you watch the stars emerge, you remember standing in the clearing, looking up at the Milky Way, feeling small, feeling connected, feeling part of something vast and ancient and ongoing. The feeling returns now, briefly, a flash of that same awareness, that same sense of place in the larger pattern. You go to bed early, you're still tired, still recovering from the long night, from the hours of walking. From the expenditure of energy and attention, you lie down, you close your eyes, you let yourself sink into the mattress, into the blankets, into the familiar comfort of your own bed. Sleep comes quickly this time. Deep sleep, dreamless sleep, the kind of sleep that restores, that heals, that allows the body and mind to process everything that happened, to integrate the experience, to file it away properly, to make room for what comes next. You sleep through the night, the whole night, uninterrupted. When you wake, it is morning again, a new day, fresh, clean, full of possibility. The forest night feels even more distant now, 2 days removed, becoming memory, becoming story, becoming something that happened once, something you will think about sometimes, something that shaped you in ways you will continue discovering. You rise. You begin again. You continue your life, your normal life, your ordinary life. But it is not quite the same life you had before. It cannot be. You have walked through whispers. You have encountered mystery. You have experienced something that resists explanation, that refuses to be made simple, that remains strange and beautiful and troubling and wonderful all at once. And this is enough. More than enough. This is the gift. This is what the forest offered. This is what the night provided. Not answers, not explanations, not clarity, but experience, but mystery. But the reminder that the world is larger than you know, stranger than you understand, more full of wonder than you usually remember. You carry this with you, into days, into weeks, into months, into years perhaps. You carry the memory of whispers, the memory of walking. The memory of a night when the ordinary world revealed its extraordinary nature, when mystery walked beside you, when whispers guided you through darkness, when you learned that some things are better left unexplained, better left mysterious, better left as questions rather than answers. This is the lesson. This is the wisdom. This is what the forest taught you, not to solve every mystery, not to explain every strange experience, not to make everything sensible and reasonable and logical, but to accept that mystery exists, that the world contains things beyond your understanding, that not knowing is sometimes better than knowing, that questions can be more valuable than answers. You think about this often, in quiet moments, in times of uncertainty, in situations where you encounter things you cannot explain. You remember the whispers. You remember the night. You remember that you survived, that you made it through, that encountering mystery did not destroy you, did not harm you, did not leave you damaged or broken or afraid. Instead, it left you enriched, enlarged, more capable of wonder, more open to possibility, more willing to accept that the world is stranger and more beautiful and more mysterious than you usually allow yourself to believe. This is the real gift. This is the true value of that night. This is what you carry forward. The whispers are silent now, or perhaps they continue. Perhaps they whisper still in those woods, to other travellers, other walkers, other people who venture into darkness and pay attention, who listen carefully, who give the night their full presence. The whispers do not belong to you. They belong to the forest, to the darkness, to the eternal conversation that wild places have with themselves and with anyone willing to listen. You are allowed to participate for one night, for one journey, for one long walk through mystery and strangeness and beauty. This was enough. This was generous. This was more than most people ever receive. You do not need more. You do not need to return. You do not need to capture or extend or repeat the experience. You need only to remember, to honor, to allow what happened to continue shaping you, to let the mystery remain mysterious, to resist the urge to explain or rationalize or make sensible what was never meant to be sensible, to simply hold the experience gently, carefully, respectfully, the way you would hold something precious and fragile, something that could be damaged by too much handling, too much analysis, too much need to understand. So you let it be. You let the whispers remain whispers. You let the mystery remain mysterious. You let the night remain in the past where it belongs, where it can live untarnished by attempts to recreate or recapture it, where it can exist as pure memory, pure experience, pure gift. And this is how you continue, how you move forward, how you live your life after walking through whispers, with gratitude, with wonder, with openness to the possibility that at any moment the ordinary might reveal itself as extraordinary, that at any time mystery might appear, that whenever you are willing to listen carefully, to pay attention fully, to give yourself completely to the present moment, you might hear whispers, might encounter strangeness, might discover that the world is far more interesting than you usually remember. This is what you learned in the forest. This is what the night taught you. This is what you carry with you always. Not as burden, but as blessing. Not as confusion, but as clarity. The clarity that comes from accepting mystery, from embracing uncertainty, from understanding that not knowing can be its own kind of knowledge. And so you walk, through days, through years, through your life, you walk with the memory of that night, with the echo of whispers, with the understanding that forests hold secrets, that darkness contains wonders, that sometimes the most important journeys are the ones where you never fully understand where you have been, or what you encountered there, or what it meant. You walk, and walking is enough. Walking is everything. Walking is the answer to the question the whispers asked. Walking is the response to the mystery the forest offered. Walking is how you honor the experience, how you acknowledge the gift, how you show respect for the strange and beautiful and inexplicable things that happened during those hours of darkness. You walk, and the whispers walk with you, not as sound anymore, not as external phenomenon, but as memory, as presence, as the quiet knowledge that you have touched something beyond ordinary experience, beyond normal understanding, beyond what can be easily explained or readily dismissed. The whispers live in you now. They have become part of who you are, part of how you see the world, part of how you listen, part of how you pay attention. They have changed you in ways both subtle and profound, in ways you will continue discovering, in ways that will continue unfolding throughout your life. And this is good. This is right. This is how it should be. Mystery should change us. Wonder should transform us. Encountering the unexplained should leave us different, should expand our sense of what is possible, should remind us that the world is larger and stranger and more full of magic than our everyday lives usually reveal. So you carry the whispers forward, into whatever comes next, into the rest of your story, into the ongoing journey that is your life. You carry them not as burden but as blessing, not as confusion but as gift, the gift of mystery, the gift of wonder, the gift of one perfect night when you walked through darkness and heard whispers and learned that some questions are better than any answer could ever be. This is enough. This is everything. This is all you need, the memory, the mystery, the whispers that will live in you forever, shaping how you walk through the world, how you listen, how you pay attention, how you remain open to the possibility that at any moment in any place mystery might appear, might speak, might whisper, might offer you another chance to encounter something beyond explanation, beyond understanding, beyond everything except acceptance and gratitude and wonder. You walk, you listen, you remain open, and sometimes, in quiet moments, When the world grows still and you give yourself fully to the present, you hear them, the whispers, soft, distant, calling from forests you may never visit again, calling from the mysterious spaces that exist between waking and sleeping, between knowing and not knowing. Between the ordinary world and the extraordinary truth that hides beneath its surface. The whispers continue, they always continue, for those who walk, for those who listen, for those who are willing to accept that mystery exists, that not everything can be explained, that sometimes the most important experiences are the ones that resist understanding, that remain strange, that stay mysterious, that whisper always just below the threshold of clear comprehension. This is the gift, this is the lesson, this is what the forest offered and you accepted, the whispers, the mystery, the eternal question that has no answer, except the answer you create by continuing to walk, by continuing to listen, by continuing to remain open to wonder, and so you do. You walk, you listen, you wonder, and the whispers walk with you, always, forever. Until the end of your own journey, until you too become whisper, become mystery, become part of the eternal conversation that forests have with darkness, that night has with those who are brave enough to walk through it, that mystery has with anyone willing to listen without demanding explanation. You walk, the whispers accompany you. This is enough. This is everything. This is the whole story and the only story that matters. The story of walking through darkness, of hearing whispers, of surviving mystery, of being changed by wonder, of carrying forward the knowledge that the world is stranger and more beautiful than you ever imagined, than you ever dared believe, than you ever allowed yourself to acknowledge. Until now, until that night, until those whispers, until you walked through forest and darkness and emerged transformed, slightly, subtly, but truly, forever, changed by mystery, touched by wonder, blessed by whispers that will echo in you always, reminding you, calling you, inviting you to remember that magic exists, that mystery lives, that the world still offers gifts to those who walk slowly enough, listen carefully enough, pay attention fully enough to hear what whispers in the darkness, what speaks in the silence, what lives in the eternal space between knowing and not knowing, between explanation and acceptance, between fear and wonder. This is where you live now, in that space, forever. Thank you for walking. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing the whispers to be what they are. Mystery, pure mystery, beautiful mystery, the kind that changes everything while explaining nothing, the kind that matters most. Walk on, listen always. The whispers continue, for you, for everyone, for all who dare to enter darkness and emerge transformed. This is the way, this is the path, this is the eternal truth that forests teach and darkness reveals and whispers proclaim. You are changed. You are blessed. You are forever one who walked through mystery and survived, who heard whispers and did not flee, who encountered the unexplained and accepted it. This is who you are now. This is what you carry. This is the gift that keeps giving. Through all your days, through all your nights, through every walk you take from this moment forward, the whispers thank you. The forest thanks you. The mystery thanks you for listening, for accepting, for remaining open, for being willing to change, for carrying forward what you learned, for honoring what you experienced, for letting it live in you. Forever, always, until you too whisper, until you too become mystery, until you too join the eternal conversation that never ends, that always continues, that invites all who dare to listen. Walk well, listen deeply. The journey continues, always forever in whispers.